Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my Week 3 USFL predictions. So last week I had a record of 3-1, and that brings my record on the season to 7-1. Starting off with the games on Saturday, we have the Stallions against the Breakers. So this is the battle between two undefeated teams. The Breakers have gotten two close wins to begin the season, and the Stallions have destroyed two opponents to begin the season. I think this should be a close, higher scoring, entertaining game. Both teams have showed they can score points. The Breakers averaged 30 points in their first two games, whereas the Stallions a little bit more than that, about 34.5, sorry, in their first two games. So this should be a great game, but I could actually also see this being a blowout because the Stallions have probably the best all-around team in the USFL, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. When you combine all those, they got the most complete and well-balanced team. But the Breakers, on offense, they've been tremendous so far this season, but defensively, it's been a different story. They've not been bad defensively, but they haven't been great. And so that's why I could see this being a blowout, but I think this will be a closer game, and I think this will be a high-scoring, close game as I have the Stallions with the win, continuing to show they're the best team in the USFL, and they're the team to beat, and also remaining undefeated, moving to 3-0 on the season with a 34-23 win over the Breakers. Next game, we've got the Gamblers against the Showboats. So one of these two teams will pick up their first win of the season this week, and the Gamblers, they're coming off a close loss to the Breakers, where they were great offensively, putting up 31 points. For the Showboats, they're coming off a brutal 42-2 loss to the Stallions, where they couldn't do anything correctly. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from such a bad loss. Now, the Gamblers' offense was great last week, as I said, putting up 31 points. And they could get even better because they have star running back Mark Thompson making a season debut after missing the first 2 weeks with an illness. So he should be able to boost the Gamblers' offense and rushing attack. So I think this should be a higher scoring game, as I think the Showboats should be able to bounce back and have an okay performance. I don't think they'll look great, but I think they should be okay and won't look as bad as they did last week. But I think this will be a higher scoring game, as both teams have struggled defensively to start the season and have been okay on offense. But I'm going to go with the Gamblers getting their first win of the season because they were great offensively last week, and they could get even better on offense with the return of Mark Thompson. So I've got the Gamblers winning by a score of 28-22. Moving to the games on Sunday, first we've got the rivalry game between the Stars and Maulers. So the Stars suffered their first loss of the season last week when they lost to the Panthers. And in that game, starting quarterback Case Cookus suffered a right knee injury. Now, Cookus is good to go this week for the matchup against their in-state rival, the Maulers. But the Stars must make sure they protect their signal caller, and they need to do so, and that will be a tough task this week against a good Maulers pass rush. And the Maulers also have one of the better defensive fronts in the USFL. The Maulers need to figure out their quarterback position because they have struggled mightily on offense, and a big reason to that is poor quarterback play. So I have the Stars winning this game, but by how much they will win by, that's going to be determined based off how their offensive line plays, because their offensive line is key to their offensive success because they haven't been able to run the football very effectively, and they also need to protect their quarterback Case Cookus and give him time to throw. But I've got the Stars defeating the Maulers by a score of 24-6. And our final game of the week, we've got the Panthers hosting the Generals. So the Panthers are playing their first home game of the season, and they've been one of the biggest surprises of the USFL season so far. They're 2-0 and have an incredibly complete team. For the Generals, on the other hand, they haven't necessarily been disappointing, but they haven't lived up to the expectations I've had for them. So this is a big game for both teams, and I think the winner of this game will be able to run the football better and win in the trenches as well. For the Generals, they need to run the football because they still have not figured out their quarterback position, whether that is DeAndre Johnson or Dakota Prukop. And also running the football has been their bread and butter last season and so far this season. For the Panthers, their offense has been a lot better when they've ran the ball effectively, but they've still been okay when passing the football because Josh Love has been very good to start the season. Now, I think this should be a close game, but I've got the Panthers winning because I think they have the better defensive front, and I think they should be able to control the line of scrimmage using their defensive line, and they will be able to pressure the Generals' quarterbacks and slow down Darius Victor and the Generals' rushing attack, which, by the way, will also get Trey Williams back from injury this week, so he will make a season debut after missing the first 2 weeks with an ankle injury. But I still think the Panthers' defensive front will be able to slow down the Generals' rushing attack, and the Michigan Panthers will remain undefeated, winning by a score of 23-20 over the Generals. So those are my Week 3 USFL predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible. Make sure to check out the community tab of my channel where you guys can vote on who you think will win this week's games. But I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications so if there are upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.